how are you? What we discussed in the previous class, that is about the synapse, transmission of impulse through a nerve. Then, today we are going to learn about the central nervous system and the important organs of the central nervous system. Can you say which are the important organs of the central nervous system? They are brain and spinal cord. Let's study about the structure and functions of the brain and spinal cord.
The nervous system consists of two parts. They are the central nervous system and the peripheral nervous system. The central nervous system is again divided into brain and spinal cord. Peripheral nervous system consists of nerves. They are of two types, cranial nerves and spinal nerves. There are 12 pair of cranial nerves and 31 pair of spinal nerves. Now, we can study about the brain, that is the important organ of the central nervous system. How is it protected? The brain is protected inside the skull. It is covered by a three-layered membrane called meninges. In between meninges, there is a fluid, that is cerebrospinal fluid. This cerebrospinal fluid is formed from the blood and reabsorbed into the blood. What are the functions of cerebrospinal fluid? It provides nutrients and oxygen to the tissues of the brain. It also regulates the pressure inside the brain and to protect the brain from external injuries. Then we can see how the structure of brain is suitable to its function. Brain consists of different parts and each part has its own specific function. So we can study the parts of the brain and their important functions. Therefore, we can observe a video.
മസ്തിഷ്കത്തിന്റെ ഏറ്റവും വലിയ ഭാഗമാണ് സെറിബ്രം. ഉപരിതലത്തിൽ ധാരാളം മടക്കുകളും ചുളിവുകളും കാണപ്പെടുന്നു. ഗ്രേ മാറ്റർ കൊണ്ട് നിർമ്മിച്ച ബാഹ്യഭാഗമാണ് കോർട്ടെക്സ്. വൈറ്റ് മാറ്റർ കൊണ്ട് നിർമ്മിച്ച ആന്തരഭാഗമാണ് മെഡുല്ല. ചിന്ത, ബുദ്ധി, ഭാവന, ഓർമ്മ എന്നിവയുടെ കേന്ദ്രമാണ് സെറിബ്രം. സെറിബെല്ലം മസ്തിഷ്കത്തിന്റെ രണ്ടാമത്തെ വലിയ ഭാഗം. സെറിബ്രത്തിന് പിന്നിൽ താഴെ രണ്ടു ദളങ്ങളായി കാണുന്നു. ചുളിവുകളും ചാലുകളുമുണ്ട്. പേശി പ്രവർത്തനങ്ങളെ ഏകോപിപ്പിച്ച് ശരീര തുലന നില പാലിക്കുന്നു. തലാമസ് സെറിബ്രത്തിന് താഴെയായി കാണപ്പെടുന്നു. സെറിബ്രത്തിലേക്കും സെറിബ്രത്തിൽ നിന്നുമുള്ള ആവേഗ പുനഃപ്രസരണ കേന്ദ്രം. ശരീരത്തിന്റെ വിവിധ ഭാഗങ്ങളിൽ നിന്നുള്ള ആവേഗങ്ങളെ പരിശോധിച്ച് പ്രാധാന്യമുള്ളവയെ സെറിബ്രത്തിലേക്ക് അയക്കുന്നു. ഹൈപ്പോതലാമസ് തലാമസിന് തൊട്ടു താഴെ കാണുന്ന ഭാഗം. ആന്തര സമസ്ഥിതി പരിപാലനത്തിന് പ്രധാന പങ്ക് വഹിക്കുന്നു. മെഡുല്ല ഒബ്ലാങ്കേറ്റ സെറിബ്രത്തിന് ചുവടെ സെറിബെല്ലത്തോട് ചേർന്ന് ദണ്ഡാകൃതിയിൽ കാണുന്നു. ഹൃദയസ്പന്ദനം, ശ്വാസോച്ഛ്വാസം തുടങ്ങിയ അനൈച്ഛിക പ്രവർത്തനങ്ങൾ നിയന്ത്രിക്കുന്നു.
Are you observe the parts and their functions? Once more we can pass through the parts and functions of the brain. First upon cerebrum. It is the largest part of the brain. Numerous fissures and folds are seen on the surface of the cerebrum. It increases the surface area of the cerebrum. Cerebrum is the center of thought, intelligence, memory, and imagination. It also evokes sensations and controls voluntary movements. The second largest part of the brain is called cerebellum. It's seen behind the cerebrum as two flaps. So many fissures and grooves are present on the surface of cerebellum also. What about its function? It coordinates muscular activities and maintains equilibrium of the body. Thirdly, medulla oblongata. The rose-shaped medulla is seen below the cerebrum and near the cerebellum. It controls involuntary actions like heartbeat, breathing, etc. Then, thalamus, situated below the cerebrum, and it acts as a relay station of impulses to and from the cerebrum. It analyzes impulses from various parts of the body and sends the important ones to the cerebrum. And one more part, that is hypothalamus. It is situated just below the thalamus. It plays a major role in the maintenance of homeostasis. Then we can study the structure and functions of the spinal cord, that is the second important organ of the nervous system. Spinal cord is the continuation of the medulla oblongata. Look at the structure. Can you see? It is originating from the medulla. How is it protected? It is protected inside the vertebral column. Like the brain, the spinal cord is also covered by three-layered membrane called meninges. And the central canal, seen in the center of the spinal cord, is also filled with the cerebrospinal fluid. Another peculiarity, in the spinal cord, white matter is seen outside and grey matter is seen inside. Look here, the internal structure of the spinal cord. We can observe a small video which shows the structure of spinal cord.
കേന്ദ്ര നാഡീവ്യവസ്ഥയുടെ ഭാഗമാണ് സുഷുമ്ന. തലച്ചോറിന് തുടർച്ചയായി നട്ടലിനുള്ളിലൂടെ കീഴറ്റം വരെ എത്തുന്ന നാഡീദണ്ഡാണ് ഇത്. തലച്ചോറ് മെനിഞ്ചസിനാൽ സംരക്ഷിക്കപ്പെട്ടിരിക്കുന്നതുപോലെ സുഷുമ്നയ്ക്കും മെനിഞ്ചസ് കൊണ്ടുള്ള ആവരണം ഉണ്ട്. തലച്ചോറിൽ നിന്നും വ്യത്യസ്തമായി സുഷുമ്നയിൽ വൈറ്റ് മാറ്റർ പുറത്തും ഗ്രേ മാറ്റർ അകത്തുമായാണ് കാണപ്പെടുന്നത്. സുഷുമ്നയുടെ മധ്യത്തിലായി സെൻട്രൽ കനാൽ കാണപ്പെടുന്നു. ഇതിൽ സെറിബ്രോസ്പൈനൽ ദ്രവം നിറഞ്ഞിരിക്കുന്നു. സുഷുമ്നയുടെ മുതുകുഭാഗത്തേക്ക് പ്രവേശിക്കുന്ന ഡോർസൽ റൂട്ടും എതിർദിശയിൽ നിന്നും പുറപ്പെടുന്ന വെൻട്രൽ റൂട്ടും ചേർന്നാണ് സുഷുമ്ന നാഡികൾ രൂപപ്പെടുന്നത്.
Observe the cross section of the spinal cord. There are 31 pairs of spinal nerves arising from the spinal cord. Here you can see a dorsal root and a ventral root joined to form a spinal nerve. Sensory impulses reach the spinal cord through the dorsal root and motor impulses go out of the spinal cord through the ventral root. Impulses from different parts of the body are transmitted to and from the brain through the spinal cord. It also coordinates the repeated movements during walking, running, etc. Now, are you clear? The protection of the spinal cord and the formation of spinal nerves and the functions of the spinal cord. Then we can discuss one another important function of the spinal cord, that is reflex action. What is reflex action? Look at the picture. This shows the pathway of a reflex action, the pathway of impulses in a reflex action. Then what is reflex action? It is the accidental and involuntary responses towards stimuli are called reflex actions. In other ways, it is a sudden, involuntary or a unconscious action. Look here, what is the situation? When we touch on a hot object, we know that we suddenly withdraw our hands. It is an example of reflex action. What is the pathway of impulses in this action? First of all, impulses generates in the receptor cell of the fingertip. These impulses carried by sensory neuron to the spinal cord. There, the sensory neuron is connected to the motor neuron by another neuron called interneuron. From the motor neuron, the impulses from the spinal cord reach to the related muscles. According to that, the related muscle withdraws the hand by the action of the related muscle, the hand withdraws. This process is called a reflex action. This picture indicates the reflex action. Can you prepare a flowchart which shows the pathway of impulses? Mainly, spinal cord acts as the center of reflex action, and such reflexes are called spinal reflexes. Mainly, the reflexes below the neck are under the control of spinal cord. But all reflexes are not under the control of the spinal cord. For example, we blink our eyes when light suddenly falls on our eyes. It also is an example of reflex action, but it is a cerebral reflex. That means in this action, the activity is controlled by the brain, the cerebrum of the brain. Now, are you clear? What is reflex action and what is the role of spinal cord to control reflex actions? And the reflex action are two types, spinal reflex and cerebral reflexes. Now we can study about the autonomous nervous system. There may be so many instances in our life when we felt sudden fear or sadness. For example, seeing a snake suddenly. What are the changes that takes place in the body during such emergency situation? Yes, heartbeat increases, eye pupil dilate, production of saliva decreases, like that. And these activities, they takes place beyond the conscious level, and these activities are controlled by the autonomous nervous system. It is the part of the peripheral nervous system. The peripheral nervous system, we already discussed that it contains nerves. And same time, the sympathetic system and the parasympathetic system together form the autonomous nervous system. That means autonomous nervous system is again divided into sympathetic and parasympathetic system. Look at the illustration. Here you can see the sympathetic and parasympathetic system. When our body in an emergency situation, there are so many changes are occurring in our body and they are under the control of sympathetic system. We can list which are the activities during that time. First of all, the pupil in the eye dilates. Saliva production decreases. Trachea expands. Heartbeat increases. Therefore, the gastric activity slows down and glycogen is converted to glucose. Peristalsis in the intestine slows down and urinary bladder regains normal state. These are the main activities or the changes taking place during in an emergency situation. And all these activities are controlled by sympathetic system. And within short time, our body come back to the normal state. And the parasympathetic system help to overcome the body or come back to the normal state. See which are the activities of the parasympathetic system? Is the dilated eye become contracts. Saliva production increases. Trachea contracts. Heartbeats become normal. Then the gastric activity is also normal. Glucose is again converted to glycogen. And the peristalsis in the intestine becomes normal. And the production of hormones also decreases. Urinary bladder contracts. So, that is about the sympathetic and parasympathetic system. Then, can you write in your science diary which are the organs involved in the autonomous nervous system and what are the changes in the body in an emergency situation and what is the role of sympathetic and parasympathetic system in that situation. Then we can discuss the nervous system and its disorders. Mainly there are of three diseases. They are Alzheimer's, Parkinson's and epilepsy. We can discuss these diseases on the next class.
Now, are you clear? The importance of the brain is almost all bodily activities are under the control of brain and spinal cord. So, I think all of you understood about the importance of brain and spinal cord. And today's assignment is all of you draw the neat diagram of brain and spinal cord in your science diary and label the parts and prepare notes about the functions.